Last Wednesday, here in the boardroom of the school administration building, the president of the League for Educational Advancement in Dallas publicly disagreed with the school administration's handling of its honors program. Following that meeting, a heated discussion took place between the former president of LEAD, Dr. Norman Kaplan, and an assistant superintendent, Dr. Frank L. Williams. According to a published newspaper story, Williams is supposed to have charged LEAD with, and we quote, trying to meddle in school affairs and intimidating school officials. The newspaper story goes on to quote Williams as having said to Kaplan, this, meaning the honors program, is not going to be a way Negro students integrate these high schools. Today, State Representative James H. Clark, Jr. joined in the fracas by calling for a thorough public investigation of the alleged remarks. Clark says he is concerned that normal channels of communication remain open between the public and the school system. Clark is in Washington at this time. But Dr. Kaplan talked with us about his version of the incident.
Well, after the report was read by Dr. White, I simply asked Dr. Williams to explain some of it, and he immediately brought out the fact that this was not going to be the way that the Negro students were going to be transferring to white schools. In all honesty, neither I nor Mr. Tobian, who made a statement to the school board, had thought about this as an issue. The second issue, which relates to the problem of LEAD or any group of citizens or individual citizens coming to the school system and seeking improvements, is of course another very basic problem.
Dr. Williams would not answer any questions about the incident, but would only read a prepared statement, of which this is part.
After some other discussion to which he would not accept answers, I told him, "You're not interested in the welfare of these students. You're only interested in trying to see to it that Negro students enter all of the high schools of the city regardless of where they live." As we moved down the aisle toward the outside door of the meeting room, I told Dr. Kaplan that he was not interested in the welfare of the students, but was merely carrying on a program of harassment and had been guilty of insulting, embarrassing, indicting, and debasing the school administration, the superintendent of schools, and the Board of Education.
LEAD is a North Dallas group which has taken an active and verbal interest in the school system. It was begun 3 years ago, and since then, this whole issue behind this unpleasant incident has been brewing. It boils down to the question of criticism versus non-criticism of the school system, and we'll be hearing more about it as time goes on. Teal Salon reporting.
That was my first meeting with Mr. Hyatt since he's been elected president of the Chamber of Commerce of Dallas, and also my first chance to know him. We had a very cordial meeting and one of get-acquainted type, reviewing background about how we got in this position and wondering why we hadn't been able to communicate or hadn't communicated before now instead of doing it through the news media.
Was he aware of the master road plan and the means of carrying out this plan?
Oh, he was, and like any of the good people in Dallas and the citizens involved in leadership, we recognize that this plan is probably a good plan and that it needs to be implemented, but we also recognize that it's built and planned for the period between now and 1985, and that it'd be difficult to do all of it in any given short period of time. I think we perhaps gave him some background either this morning or maybe the other commissioners did yesterday that he was not aware of, and that's how this road plan came to be to start with. There have been some arguments and controversies before the Commissioner's Court about whether or not you spend road and bridge funds, these are the dollars for roads and maintenance, inside the city of Dallas or not. It's been my personal belief that we ought to, and we have for years joined with them on a 50-50 basis.
We have anticipated our needs in this rapidly growing department, and our architects now have, in final stages, drawings for a completely new facility, which will incorporate all of the latest innovations in business educational techniques. It's one that we're very pleased with, and we think will be a tremendous addition to this campus. We're presently housed in a facility of approximately 20,000 square feet, and this will triple in size in the new facility. And in this, as I've indicated, will be some special classrooms that will enable the use of the latest teaching innovations and equipment and machinery and this kind of thing. Another attraction of this facility will be some 10,000 square feet, which will be allocated to a new computer center.